Attention passengers. This is your co-pilot speaking. Your pilot is black mind, so you are not going blind and there is no power failure. You are merely experiencing the immense blackness of his proximity, and when you hear his voice, you and the cabin will get even darker than you are currently. We will be cruising at the speed equal to light, because the one other thing that travels equally fast is darkness. Your loved ones awaiting your arrival may not recognize you at first sight. This is normal. Simply tell them about the pilot, and they will understand. We will taxi to the runway now, so please buckle up and prepare for a high-speed departure. Thank you for choosing Jet Black Airways, where the phrase jet black is also a verb. We hope you keep jetting black with us until the wings and the wheels fall off. Justice forever.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of you. Peace out to the rest of you. This is your pilot Black Mind speaking. Hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. There's an echo in the cockpit this time. Sorry about that. There's not much I can do about it. There is, but I'm not going to. So let me get right to it, because you saw the title. When I uploaded my message about Vina Vinod yesterday, I wrote in the description a request from each of you to only send $1 US in Cash App. That was not to beg. It's my job to get what I need to save up, and I'm in the process of looking for jobs to get what I need to save up for what I plan on doing. But my purpose was to test the audience right after I uploaded a message about you shines collectively putting women up financially in exchange for simple validation, while male content creators generally have to do this for free or a little change and then work another job full time. You showed that many of you don't read at all, really beyond the title. Time is tight, and I get that. But by reading when you're young instead of hating reading, you become a quicker reader actually by your teens, let alone your adulthood. Many of you in this space don't like to read. Now, we're in the same space and we agree when it comes to the gender war, but you don't like to read, and it shows. And that means that there's going to be something intellectually you don't get to contribute and may not even understand if you came across it. Am I saying you're dumb because you're illiterate? No, I'm saying you're less smart though. It does affect your thinking. But more importantly, it doesn't completely affect your ability to comprehend. I don't know. I've never been functionally illiterate for my age, but it does affect your ability to convey what you have learned. So in addition to the time that you may not have to read much, there's also the issue of how many of you hated to learn to read when you were younger and then learn to write. And this means you have not yet reached the Malcolm X standard of reform. What does this have to do with what Edward Allen Anderson said? Well, we're in the midst of what should be a cultural revolution. And unfortunately, we're not taking that part seriously enough. Now, I'll tease Edward Anderson about the misspellings of his titles. But these are jokes because I actually know about his keyboard being jacked the uck fuck, as many keyboards are, that he has to multitask often, and even something specific with which he has to help some of his family members deal. So I get it. So I don't seriously get on him. But he doesn't validate nigger culture even to an extent. He doesn't validate anti-intellectualism or promote illiteracy, not even a bit. What I see from many of you in this space who are on the same side as him and me is that you don't read much and you don't care how badly you write. That's not a keyboard problem. It's not a multitasking issue. Don't think that because I hit the love button or like button because you agree with me that I don't know that you write like a kindergartner and you don't punctuate. And no, you know what I meant is not an excuse, because if I accept that excuse, you still won't spell or punctuate it correctly. And what is the reason behind that? Well, the reason is an anti-intellectualism that runs amongst us still. Your attitude towards basic literacy in your first language, not your other languages that you must learn and in which you must misspell and make some mistakes to learn anyway, but in your first language is your attitude towards education and development overall. And in all honesty, a bad attitude towards that means you still have some remnant of the gynocratic, hyena bitch sympathizer software in you. What's the hardest thing with which to disagree with the hyenas who run our communities? It's their choices in men and their last choices in men too. See, we're taught to understand and see it their way when they show how hybristomania and anti-intellectualism affect their mating choices, because they can't help it if they don't want no soft man. Yeah, well, see, that valid point in human beings, women not wanting men that are like women, has been taken too far by us with respect to Western sisters, though. Because when Western sisters start wanting other women, we don't mind. But you as a dude, you gotta be Superman. You don't get to be a human man. You gotta be bulletproof, Kryptonian, but without the weakness of kryptonite. We understand why they want jailbirds and corner hustlers, which is our fault. The ultimate opposition to that is to change our views on education, and that includes and even starts with basic literacy for one's age in one's first language. See, when you change your attitude towards that, you have really at a fundamental level gone against the dysfunctional idness culture that the hyena bitch wants to keep going. You proved that this space will one day be dominated by not only ladies, but specifically by the worst of them, the chameleons. See, now let's talk about the financial aspect. Now that I've covered the part about you just not reading. And I'm going to get to the ones who I know did read. I'm not one to say that every woman's a chameleon, because that would imply that they can't be any better and that we'd have no moral grounds on which to stand, because it would imply that God made them to oppress us and they can't help that. Well, that's not true. Allah does not oppress either gender of either creation. See, by you being okay, and it's really only a few of you, with making it rain on ladies like that during their lives, let's be honest, you incentivize ladies coming in whether they believe this or not. But between sincere and well-meaning ladies on one end and the chameleons on the other, chameleons will know each other generally, and guess what they're going to do? Gang up on and push out the sincere women so that they protect their hustle. You think Melanie King wants Crimson Cure to keep spitting her message? She might not be thinking about Crimson Cure right now, but that day is coming in which she will. And guess which one collects more from you shines collectively in this space? From us shines in this space. See, when a lady starts to become the manosphere center of gravity, and this is coming from a man that's not against women being in this space, by definition, but when they start to become the manosphere center of gravity, which the well-meaning women aren't even requesting to do and to become, believe me when I tell you the sincere and well-meaning ones won't stand a chance. Just like in real life walking around, they already don't stand a chance. Have they not been stifled to the point that you and I, or many of us in this space, believe that there are no good women left because we don't come across them outdoors in our daily lives? The hyena broads got them shooken and hiding. They better be quiet in the hair salons and in other spaces of women. If Kendra didn't wear the hijab like Muslims should, she'd be in danger every time she goes to the hair salon, which probably would have to be more often. And understand this. There's some lady somewhere that wants to harm her because they already want to go after Daphne Ford Sutton. Daphne ain't even all up in our spaces like this, but she holds women accountable. And there are women that want to harm her because they saw photos and realized she ain't old, she ain't past the wall, and if she was, so what? But they realized that she wasn't just a pick-me trying to compete because she couldn't look the part. The other thing is this, you've shown a type of helplessness, and understand this ain't even most of us. But see, just like I said 30 years ago to my partners, chasing broads don't work. No, they're not going to come to you. It still doesn't work when you chase them. Just like I told them this, and they want to say, man, you stupid. You ain't going to change this, that, or the other. I was like, no, I'm not, but we could, but you don't believe it. Well, it's the same thing with this. And you think this would be easier because we may have time to approach women like we did when we were young. We don't all have dough like that. We have limited control over biology, but it doesn't take control, and the opposition to biology does not send, it's not enough to make somebody send buckets of dough to new ladies that we don't know that well, or to not send ridiculous amounts even sincere women don't request. While when a man asks you for $1 a piece in writing just to test you, you don't even see it. See, you guys aren't really cheap, so don't get me wrong. Most of us aren't even a part of this problem. except that we're not willing to police them niggas that are. What I want from most of you listening is to get used to supporting other men in this space. It ain't gotta be me. And I'm gonna come to that. But I want most of you to get used to supporting other men in this space with a little from each of you to make it easy on everybody to offset the effect of some women in this space becoming the financial sons of this solar system around which the rest will have to revolve, and ultimately the chameleons among them dominating. I'm not going to ask you to do this for me only. I mean, hell, my very blackness is in question. So I get it. But what about others? What about others who aren't even purple pill and are not negotiating with the idness element to keep the jigabosity in our culture beyond comic entertainment? And even that might be too much. What about guys like accountability commentary as an example? You niggas need to stop saying, we'll show your face first before you monetize anything. No. You go ahead and just send $1 just send $1 or $2 a piece to them when they show and when they don't show their faces, based on if they benefit you somehow. See, I got a profession, and at least I'm not down and out while between jobs. And once I get a good one, I can, Lord willing, get back on track to save the 14 grand I need to start my own business, while guaranteeing that even if it fails, all my employees can be paid until it closes, and ahead of time. Only because I've got this real phobia of ever oppressing anybody that works for me, even accidentally, and shortchanging them. But see, I'm not in a bad spot yet, and Allah forbid that I'm ever in a bad spot. Please, Lord, forbid that. But there are others out there who know stuff I don't know and can benefit us, but they know that they will have to lose time or money to start and keep a channel, and they can't get it back without losing their main jobs first if they show their faces before they can transition or use it as a supplement because of them helping us. You think the job market will allow you or me to expose the games of hyenas and misandrous and still remain employed? Man, look, if I worked in the USA without even showing my face, I'd be fired quickly. Schools would tell me if this were a college or university, it would be different, but parents and teachers think you're going to influence the children in the classroom. But then the universities and colleges would just simply not hire me, even if I got a PhD later. And if I did, they just say, well, we don't recognize it because you got it in this country that you could afford to get it in. That's how they would do it. So the difference will require your support for these others that mean well and are sincere, even if you had a waiting period. We don't have one for these ladies, though. I'm still pissed, not about the money I'm not getting. I'm pissed that Melanie King ain't off of YouTube working a regular behind job at some retailers in which any shine could come in, recognize her, and tell her, yeah, ain't none of us gonna rescue you from this either. Keep this job. But we might. And really, the only reason I'm not really praying for that is because I know some shine might come in and say, yeah, you look good though, so you can take this 20 or 40 and let me hit that. And that's the only reason I'm not begging the law to hurry up and put in that position right mother cuss word now. Only because I wouldn't want some dudes to cheapen themselves offering ding-a-ling to her and money. No matter how she looks, she should have to pay, even for dick. Now realize that you who are listening aren't the ones sending buckets to these women during these streams or premieres. So let's come to you, because you might be wondering why this dude preaching and shouting at us and most of us ain't done it. There's a reason. Most of you ain't doing it, I'm not, but by the same token, we listening must be ready to support those of us who offer something tangible and beneficial, and you can choose based on how much it benefits you. Some of you have AI services. Man, I'd put some change into that. I'd rather slide one of you a few dollars to do some voiceovers than someone I don't know. I'd rather get a passport wallet from one of you than a generic seller somewhere with a black theme on it. I'd rather get some clothes in which to travel and be recognizable as a UBMPT from some of you than from Walmart when I'm in the States, or a retailer here in Saudi who don't even make the clothes the right sizes for most men. They want us all walking around with tight stuff. I'm like, man, shuck that fit. And those of you who could provide such aren't doing so because you know that you'd have to advertise expensively just to get a few sales that wouldn't even cover the cost of the advertising, because most of us wouldn't buy, while a few of us will send ridiculous bags to new women in exchange for nothing, even when these women aren't asking for it. And I'm not even upset that they're making any money at all, especially Crimson Cure because of the length of time she's been at it. I'm upset at the fact that the men can't make anything at all compared, even when they've been at it for years. See, Edward was right when he said that men simply can't make as much as easily in this space as women, but that's still our fault. That's on us because we fail to understand that we're the ones that got the money because we work for it. Those few guys who make it rain on women just because they're women aren't the fault of most of us. Just like the few guys who side all of the out of wedlock kids aren't the fault of the rest of us. But see, we never put them on blast for it. I don't know the name of the dude that sent $1,500 to Chantel Simone. We never even scrutinized them to see if any guy in the space got any large sums from them, something similar. So to whomever it was that did send $1,500 to Chantel Simone, we can't just say to you, sir, it's your money. We also have to say, but did you send that sum to any bros? We have to ask that wallet policing question of you, because if you don't, we have to isolate you even in business, sir. Why? We can't afford to have a meal with you or to do business with you either. Can we? You know why. A guy can't make as much as easily, but this means that the sincere women, sincere ladies in the space now can't find anyone for themselves. Not because they're post-war, but because who's going to make more than them? See, you pay a man, you feed his wife and then his kids. You pay his wife, I hate to say it, but you pay his wife, or not his wife, and you're paying for a divorce lawyer, clothing vendors, a boyfriend, and then you and she will ultimately be paying the vendors of cat food, wine, and sex toys in her old age. Sorry, but I didn't make those rules, but I'm telling you that we can get around them. As I stated, the one thing we men have done wrong, under which comes all else, is that we're too easy, sexually and financially, and this is a part of that. What we're seeing is that a few of us being too easy in any way can then unbalance everything in a society and de-incentivize the works and efforts of sincere men. And that's why we need a balanced understanding in between policing and not policing each other's wallets and Johnsons. And this is where the bulk of us come in. The bulk of you listening. What is that balance? Simple. We police our own Johnsons and wallets and our sons as long as they are dependents on us, because that's exactly how women gatekeep even when they're being sluts. They don't just gatekeep the drawers, and they are doing that even when they're being sluts. They're just gatekeeping it from the most responsible men. But they're gatekeeping the entire quality of the women that they'll be, just to collectively shut men out of any combination of things that we like in them, no matter how loose or strict they are with the draws. They collectively say, you're not going to get our youth unless you're one of those exceptions like Black Mind that likes maturity, in which case we will pursue you when we're young and childish and stupid. You will not get our intellect, our positive emotions that are convenient to you, our loyalty, our looks, and any good treatment from us in general. You're not going to get any combinations of these things. Hell, gentlemen, we won't even give you looks and good treatment at the same time unless we're giving you a disease to offset that. And as they're stating these things to us collectively, and by the way, them doing that is the only real game in the game, no matter how much we shines like to brag about having game. But as much as they say this to us, implicitly or explicitly, we never gatekept anything until recently. And even then, just as there are a few guys from whom these broads didn't gatekeep, there are a few guys from the opposite end undermining us by rewarding women just for not being us, even women who don't mean any harm. And see, these few are harmful even to those women because they will incentivize later on those ladies to become chameleons, or at least to forget it is in which they really truly believe, because they'll see the dollar signs, and a whole lot of them. Not realizing that they won't be the exceptions to the contempt. The men, the few men, will not realize that they're not going to be the exceptions to the contempt they're incentivizing these ladies to develop. I hope that this helps. Now, getting to the guys that I know did read. Because even if you had said, listen, I don't have Cash App, I would have said, hey, at least you read. So getting to the guys that I know did read, thanks a million to MM, because you subscribe, you're a Patreon passenger of mine, and you still sent a donation even though I was just testing the non-Patreon subscribers in my written request. And to Joe Schmo, who took on the burden of more than 20 others. I asked for each to send one just as a test, and he put in above 20. I thank you too from the bottom of my black heart and from the depths of my black mind, not just for my wallet, but also because you guys read and paid attention. For whatever any of you do send, or for any subscribers, I will put it either into the channel or to save for the business that itself is going to later generate revenue to go towards helping those who reblacktriate in other places. For Patreon subscribers, I plan to upload some computer advice for travelers later on, whether the travelers are digital nomads or not, designed to make everything more convenient. Thank you for listening. So it appears that there's now less turbulence, so you may unbuckle your seats and move about the cabin freely for a little while. Thanks again for choosing Jet Black Airways, where we turn the adjective jet black into a verb. Keep jetting black with us. As always, black heart, black mind, black out. Assalamu alaikum, and black heterosexual, non-select male power just because she don't like it. And black patriarchy until extinction or judgment day. In a few minutes, prepare for arrival.